Hello and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Hannah. And it is very noisy in the background. We have cars, construction, and it is finally a sunny day here. We are seemingly into summer after all of this cold and rain we've been getting for months. So today is the start of another reading vlog, and this is going to be one where we're going to see if it is overhyped or not, as I will be reading The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller as this horn honks in the background. So I actually tried to buy this book on my birthday back at the end of March, and it is now July. It was sold out at all the bookshops I went to, and I went to like 5 different ones, and the line was really long at the library to get it, but I just said screw it, put myself in line, and it's finally my turn. So everyone and their dog has heard about this book, and if not this one, then definitely Circe, which is technically the sequel to this, which is why I want to read this first before reading that. But they are standalone, so you don't have to do it that way. I've obviously heard the hype around this book, but pretty much all I know about it is that it is a Greek love story between 2 men, and there's like a big battle in it or something, but that's about it really. So let's read the description together. And I really love the pages on here. They're like those really like old looking thick pages. Anyway, it says the legend begins. Greece in the age of heroes. Okay, Greek name. Patroclus, an awkward young prince, has been exiled to the kingdom of Pythia to be raised in the shadow of King Peleus and his golden son Achilles. The best of all the Greeks, strong, beautiful, and the child of a goddess, Achilles is everything the shamed Patroclus is not. Patroclus? Yet, despite their differences, the boys become steadfast companions. Their bond deepens as they grow into young men and become skilled in the arts of war and medicine, much to the displeasure and the fury of Achilles' mother, Thetis, a cruel sea goddess with a hatred of mortals. Oh, I didn't know that was Achilles' mother. When word comes that Helen of Sparta has been kidnapped, the men of Greece, bound by blood and oath, must lay siege to Troy in her name. Seduced by the promise of a glorious destiny, Achilles joins their cause, and torn between love and fear for his friend, Patroclus follows. Little do they know that the fates will test them both as never before and demand a terrible sacrifice. Built on the groundwork of the Iliad, I had to read the Iliad and Odyssey in high school. Built on the groundwork of the Iliad, Madeline Miller's page-turning, profoundly moving, and blisteringly paced retelling of the epic Trojan War marks the launch of a dazzling career. Cool, so this is Trojan War. Wow. That's going to be really interesting. I am more intrigued in it now. Wow, okay, yeah, the font in this is really big, so this might be a quicker read than I thought it was, but how do I say this name? I'm probably going to have to Google this or something, because Patroclus? I might just call him Pat, really. So obviously, expectations are high for this. I know a lot of people have said they cried at the end, and that this is just a very moving book, which I need something good in my life right now. Ori! Stop! My cat is eating the fence. Anyway, I really want to get out of this reading slump, and I'm hoping this is the book to do it. It has so many 5-star ratings, and so many people have loved it. I really hope I fall into that category, because I would love that boost right now. But let's go on this journey and see what it's all about. It is now the next day, and I am on chapter 5, page 82, so I am already doing a lot better with reading this than the last book. And first impressions, I do like the writing style. I find it very intriguing, and it definitely holds my interest well. I actually didn't want to put this down, but it was time to sleep. I needed some self-control there. So I definitely feel like this is pulling me out of that basic book depression that I've been in lately. I thought that they would both be adults at the start of this, but this is actually starting when Patroclus and Achilles are children. And so we're gonna see them kind of grow up together, and I find that interesting because I think That's why so many people find the ending of this so sad, is that we get really attached to the characters as we see a majority of their lives and how they grow together and change together. And I think that's a great way to connect with characters. So essentially, Patroclus and Achilles are both princes in their own kingdoms. An event happens that causes Patroclus to be exiled, and Achilles' father takes him in. I guess there's a thing where princes essentially take on a companion that is kind of like their best friend and does everything with them and stuff. And Achilles ends up choosing Patroclus for this. And that's kind of where their friendship starts to bloom. However, Achilles' mother, who is a goddess, she's a sea nymph, she's not really happy with this pairing, and so she sends Achilles to be trained by this centaur named, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, it's like Sharon, something like that. And Patroclus follows, which apparently Achilles was expecting. So Achilles is basically like, I'm not going unless I have my BFF with me. And that's kind of where I've left off. They've just gotten to the centaur guy, and I'm assuming he's kind of going to train them now. But I'll find out more about that tonight. I've always been interested in Greek mythology and the history around it and things like that. And this is kind of rekindling that love for me. Like, just, I don't know what it is, but I love those stories, and there's a lot of name dropping in this. Oh my god, I wasn't quite expecting that much, and I'm not really trying to memorize all the names or anything, or try to keep up with it. It's just, if they're gonna be a main character, then I'll worry about it. So I've just read a few more chapters of this. I'm on chapter 13, page 139. So I'm doing so much better with this book than the other one. I'm just gonna set that there. So the romance in this moved a lot faster than I was expecting. I thought it was gonna be more of a slow burn and it would kind of come to fruition at the end, but that's definitely not the case. And this is also a lot more graphic than I thought it was gonna be. It's not like full on, but it's definitely almost there. Kind of a weird event just happened, and it kind of reminds me of the scene in Final Fantasy VII where Cloud has to dress as a woman for the plots, and that's kind of what happens in here a bit. But there's a lot more to it, and it's definitely a strange bit, and especially for their age. But I know this takes place like a million years ago in ancient Greece, so it is what it is there. But the whole war with Troy is about to start. They're kind of gathering in the armies and everything, and Patroclus and Achilles are trying to not get caught up in that. I am enjoying this. It's so much more different than what I really thought this book was going to be. I am enjoying the romance aspect of it though, which is very surprising for me. And I'm really curious to see where it goes from here, since I think it's like at the end when there's the big war and everything, so we have quite a bit to go still until we get to that point. I don't know what's going on, but there's a helicopter outside and we have the AC on, so I'm gonna try and talk really loud to be over all these other noises. It's a few days later though. It's Monday, the 19th I think it is, and I did read Saturday and Sunday, but Saturday I pretty much read right before we had to go to D&D, and then Sunday my period was kicking my butt, so I just didn't feel up to it to film or anything. And now it's just after dinner and my hair's wet from a shower and stuff, and I look a mess. But anyway, I'm on chapter 20, page 215, so I'm over halfway. Nice. And I have to take this book back to the library by Thursday so the next person in line can read it. So my goal is to finish it by then, but I'm hoping to finish it tomorrow, really, because I'll probably read a bit today, and then I'm assuming finish it tomorrow. But in case, at least I have Wednesday as a buffer as well. Unfortunately, it is, like, summer has actually hit, and it's in the 80s here now, so I'm not gonna want to go out, but I'm gonna have to. Anyway, I'm just kind of complaining. In the book, we are pretty much at the point where the Battle of Troy is just starting. They've just made landfall, like the first hit's been made, and that's it. So that's where I'm going to be starting to read tonight. The whole previous part has pretty much just been people trying to prevent Achilles from having to join the war. And pretty much the whole war has just been on hold because all of the leaders want Achilles to be fighting for them. And so like all these armies have just been kind of chilling on a beach waiting for Achilles to join so they can finally like ship out. And this whole thing is taking place when they're so young. I really thought they would be like 19, 20 at least, but they're 16. Achilles and Patroclus are only 16 while all of this is happening. And there's a lot of foreshadowing that it's going to be sad. There's a lot of them straight out telling you it's going to be sad. So, I mean, there is like no misunderstanding, I guess, or like no surprise in what's going to happen at the end of this unless there's some huge twist. There have been two events that I thought were a bit weird, and I can kind of understand one of them, but the other one is just like, oh, I kind of wish that wasn't there. That's a little too much for me, especially with their ages and everything. I kind of mentioned it before. And yeah, I know it's ancient Greece, but still, it's skeevy to me. But other than that, I've really been enjoying it. I'm not devouring it like I thought I would though, but I'm definitely curious to see how I'm going to react to the ending. Because the other day I just saw on Instagram, actually, Elias posted a series of stories, and I guess he just finished this, and the ending just completely wrecked him. And I hope I at least cry, because I want to know I have a heart at least. But so far, I'm really enjoying this, but I don't think it's anything that's like out of this world amazing. So I'm really curious in this last half of the book. So fast forward about an hour, and I'm on chapter 25, page 271, and we've had a lot of time skips. So the war started, it described kind of how they were raiding, and then like actually fighting each other's armies, and it was going on for like months and months, and then it skipped 2 years, gave a little update, skipped another 2 years, gave a little update. Now it's been like 4 to 6 years of war. I'm not really sure at this point, but yeah, they're well into adulthood now, and so this is more the age I thought they were going to be for like this whole story. So I find that interesting. And obviously there's been some prophecies and stuff going on, and so far they've kind of just gotten into this rhythm. They're literally like living on the beach of Troy for like 6 years, and all the soldiers and everything have kind of just built their own village and kind of come together and stuff, and Achilles just kills a bunch of people every day. So that's pretty much where we're at. None of the major players in the story have died or anything. I have a theory of how the ending is gonna happen exactly, and so I'm interested to see if that comes true, just based on all the prophecies and everything. I'm kind of surprised there's as much left to the book as there is, as it almost kind of feels like it's slowing down, like there was almost a mutiny, because people are like, we've been here for way too many years now, we want to go home. But I also like kind of, if you take out the war, I kind of like the little conflicts in Achilles and Patroclus's relationship, just the things it brings up, like, would you ever want children? Would you ever want to be like with someone else, like get married, be with a woman kind of thing? And so I find it interesting that it's bringing up all of those kind of subjects. And I'm also finding as I'm reading this, I kind of lose sense of like how much time has passed, which is nice, because before, the books I've been reading lately just haven't been that good. So it'll feel like I've been reading for like an hour and it's only been 10 minutes, and it's just like, ugh, it feels like a slog. Where this is the complete opposite, so I'm definitely appreciating that right now. AC is still on. It's the next day. It's Tuesday, I believe, and we just have another hot day here. So did all the grocery shopping yesterday, so I was able to stay inside today. But I am about to kind of start the last trek of reading this book. I have about 70 pages left, and there's that there. I'm on chapter 28, I think. Yeah, 28, page 302. And I know the last bit of this is sad. I am fully expecting people to die, and there's just been so much foreshadowing from the like gods and everything, and Achilles' mom. Wow, I forgot his name for a moment there. And things are kind of starting to turn south. We are 9 years into the war, which I just can't fathom personally. Like, just being on a beach for that length of time and every day just fighting people, that is just insane to me, and I can't wrap my brain around it at all. So Patroclus and Achilles are now 27, I believe it said, and I did not think they would make it to this age. So this has really been more drawn out, I guess, than I thought it would be, but it's not drawn out in the book. Like, it hasn't really had a lull. It's been pretty much stuff happening constantly, and now we just had some pretty bad stuff happen. They're kind of being divided because, I mean, it's a bunch of people gathered together for 9 years. They're not gonna agree on everything. And so tempers are high, stuff's not exactly going according to plan, and now I'm getting into what I assume is going to be the nitty-gritty God influence stuff happening, and I'm prepared. I'm prepared to delve into it now, so let's see. There are 3 chapters left, and we just had the first major moments. My cat will not stop meowing, even though I just fed him. Well, I'm not crying yet, but wow, I'm really absorbed in this ending. Like, oh my gosh, I don't know. So I just finished this book, and I have a few tears running down my face. Is literally the last tiniest paragraph that caused them to. Oh my god. So this is done. Oh, that last little bit is just gorgeous. Oh man. Feeling the feels for a moment. So this is a really good book, and the last third really just, I just wanted to read all of it, and it was just crazy and just so much like the Greek stories and myths and everything, and this was just a fantastic read. There were 2 events that were just a bit too much for me. So I think this is going to be like a 4.5 instead of a full out 5 for me. Just because I can't say that I absolutely loved the entire thing. There are some scenes that I did not like. So that just brings it down just a little bit, like probably 4.75, plus I finally read a book that made me shed a few tears, and I don't think that's happened at all since I've picked up reading again. So this has been a whirlwind of emotions at the end here. Oh my god. So the prophecies meant what I thought they meant, so I was right with that. And This book, I think one reason why this book hits so hard is like you pretty much know exactly what's going to happen from the beginning. And there is some really good character development with one particular character, cough cough, Achilles' mom, cough cough. At the very end here, where it's just like, oh my god, I'm so glad she did that and that she grew like that. So that was nice. The last, essentially 2 chapters are pretty much just straight up depressing, and I don't know, it just kind of goes in a direction where it's just like, what? But also, like, I just don't understand how, like, children that are 12 years old can be, like, fighting in wars and stuff. And I don't know, the whole, like, half-god thing and stuff like that is just bonkers. Oh my god. So, is this book overhyped? No. I think it deserves the hype that it's been getting. I definitely see how people can be very emotional at the end. Do I think this is a perfect book? No. However, it is definitely one of the better ones that I've read lately, and I think this has definitely pulled me out of my reading slump. It's just felt great to read, and I've always loved mythology, and so just reading the names that I recognize and just kind of having that mythology feel to it was just fantastic and such a breath of fresh air for me, really. And being able to enjoy the romance that was in here was also really nice, because usually in books the romance, it tends to be a trope that I'm not a fan of normally, or it's just like insta love, and I hate that. So seeing the whole cycle of the relationship was really nice and intriguing and interesting, and all of the words, and oh my god, I don't know how I'm going to follow up this book now, but I definitely need to read Circe at some point soon. So this is also a pretty quick read. Like, if I had really wanted to, I probably could have read this in just 2 days. It goes at a pretty good pace as well. It doesn't really have lulls, although it does slow down just a bit in the middle. And then obviously at the end it has all of the time skips, which was definitely a lot more than I was expecting. And just seeing basically Achilles and Patroclus's entire lives was just so much more than I could ask for in this, I guess, because we pretty much see them from the time they're just small children up until 27, I think it is. And I don't know, it's just great. If you've been curious about this book at all, I definitely recommend reading it. It's 100% worth it. I mean, there's a reason why I couldn't find it in any bookshops here, and that there's like a 6-person line at the library still for reading this. So it's just been a great experience, and I'm gonna go think about this book for a while now. So as always, thank you for hanging out with me, even though this was a pretty emotional ending. And if you did enjoy this, please like and subscribe, as that does help me out a lot. And until next time, bonne journée and au revoir.